Okay, so it's 7 o'clock on the 3rd, Tuesday the 3rd, and the energy is totally intense, and I feel totally out of it. So bear with me again. I feel so out of it. It is so hard for me to come out of the astral world and back into this world, I guess. And it's like I'm so deep in the dreams, and even when they are not pleasant, because I would say they aren't pleasant, but they are deep. They're so deep. And sometimes I'm really aware of what it is that I'm understanding or learning in the dream. And other times it's just like, just weird things happening. It's one after another, but it's like I'm really there, which in some state of consciousness I am. But wherever this realm is, it's like I'm kind of stuck there or something. It's hard for me to pull all the way back into myself here. And so I feel out of it. And Archie's decided that he needs to sit next to me. I swear to God, this morning I've already been like, well, yesterday afternoon even, I was just feeling so overwhelmed. Like some days the dogs just suck the life out of me. Like they seriously suck every bit of life out of me. And yesterday I was just getting so frustrated. So then I took them down to the river, and they were playing at the river and stuff. And so I sit there and I get really worried about the mountain lion and stuff. But then I think, oh, because it was a movie I saw, I think, that made me think about this. Because it was a movie who was, the guy was trying to protect his daughter so much because what happened to his wife. So then he was overly protective, which it made her act out because she wasn't getting to just live normal. And so then I was thinking, well, I mean, the dogs want to go outside and run around. I mean, if somebody's going to get eaten by the mountain lion or coyotes, there's nothing much I can do about it. I can't just keep them locked up. So anyways, we went out and we were outside in the afternoon. It was sunny, but they were spraying the fuck out of it. But it was really sunny. And so we were outside for a while, which did help with the energy, which also, when I don't have the collar on her and then I go to put it on her, she gets so excited. So just to let Crystal know, because she gets excited. She starts wagging her tail and sits down like, oh God, I'm so excited, because she knows she's going to get treats when she's got that on. So she gets very excited to put it on. And then she gets bummed when I take it off. Like, oh, you mean it's over? Aren't we going to have more treats? So anyways, it's not a nightmare. She doesn't feel punished or anything. She rather enjoys it. And she likes it when I put it on her. And so we were doing her training, and then we went out, and so she still had it on. But she, like I said, she gets upset when I try and take it off of her. She gets really bummed. So it's weird. But the thing is, too, is I've noticed if she doesn't have it on, it's like she doesn't listen to, like if I say sit, she just looks at me like, what are you talking about? And then if she has it on and I say it, boy, she sits her ass down as fast as she can. She's very attentive to what I'm trying to teach her when she's got it on. So I don't know, at some point I'm gonna have to transition and get her to listen without it on. but anyways, because I've been trying to get her to do some of the things without it on, and she doesn't. But every day you got to work on the training, and that's when it's the most effective. And then this week when we come, he'll check and see her progress, and then we'll up to the next level. And also I've gone out without a leash and had her just walk next to me, and she did kind of wander off and got kind of excited, but then I called her back and she sat there for a minute. Do I want to go back? She thought, like, you can watch her thinking. And she thought about it, and then she decided, oh yeah, you probably should, because she'll give me a treat. So she came running back over to me. And so she was doing all her commands yesterday with no leash on or anything. We were just outside. And so then I let the other dogs go out. We went out. But Stella was very focused over there on the mountain lion thing. And I did like 20 videos of the dogs outside. And not 20, but it was a bunch. and the WT is not letting them go through it all. So I don't know. It's weird because as soon as this stuff went down on TikTok on the changeover, something happened on here. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's like the censorship went way up, and or the control or something. It's weird. So I don't know what's going on, but probably all of them are doing something because of all of the releases, and they're probably trying to stagnate the information, and so they're just causing more disruption. And but they can't stop it. Like, oh my god, TikTok is so freaking, it's going crazy with everybody talking about it. And it's so crazy is how people are so, they are just all up in arms over the the consumption of little, and then plus, that they eat poop. Like, these people are so weird, man. Like, what? And I get like it's baby stuff, so it's like meconium. Like, what the hell? And how many of these girls were just used as baby making fun? But I talked about that years ago. I said all this stuff I've been saying for years. I've been talking about this stuff for years. And but one thing that once it was just being like people going crazy, just talking about it. Then I did say something to my kids. I said, "Oh, so grandma's not so crazy, is she?" Like, and one of my daughters is listening to a podcast go over it. And so last night when I woke up in the middle of the night, I saw that she had messaged and said that. And so I said some things back. So now you know, it wasn't so crazy, was I? Now it makes sense why I decided to opt out of this scheme that they've got going. Because I'm not supporting their fucking islands and yachts and shit. And they're a bunch of freakos. And it's come out like the same, where like all of this stuff, where people, like when you talked about it, people thought you were just wacko. And now it's like, oh, I'm not so crazy, am I? So it feels good on that point. My other daughter, I said something to her, and she's on Instagram all the time, and so she was sending me some of those. And yeah, it's the same thing on Instagram as it is on TikTok. I'm sure it's the same thing on Facebook. Twitter is blowing up too. And my one daughter, she's always on Twitter, so I said to send me some, but I haven't gotten any from her yet. But she was working all day, so she didn't really know what was going on yet. And but my one daughter, she was on Instagram all day. And so, yeah, she's just like nothing. I mean, there's nothing that will surprise her. It's like, this is all so sick. But people are totally freaking, and it's just going to get worse. That's the thing. This is like the tip of the iceberg. They don't even know like how far it's going to go. And there is people who are really hung up on, oh, well, how dare Donald, out of all this stuff, how dare Donald be sticking his fingers in to measure little children? And it's like, that part isn't real. I don't even know how they're letting some of this stuff go in with that stuff. And I don't know how they're going to differentiate, but there must be something, somehow, that it's going to show. But there is all sorts of lawyers and stuff that have said, no, he is the whistleblower. He's the informant. He's the one who was a part of bringing all these freakos down. So, and I mean, and as soon as he came into, our view over a political figure, he started talking about, we got to drain the swamp. These people are fucking crazy. And people start being like, oh my God, he's such an egotistical, crazy guy. He's so this, he's so that. And he was telling the truth the whole time. And they didn't want to hear it. And there was a reason why he called some of these people names and stuff like that. And they didn't want to hear it. I mean, look at how the outrage of the people now. I mean, there's people who want to round them up and let's take them down and let's hang some ropes from some trees. Let's get this party started. So there's lots of people who are like, we're ready for some freaking justice. People are mad. Oh, and now the whole Woody Allen thing is recirculating, and they've got even a documentary out. And it's where you start realizing like all this shit he did, and he's walking free and making movies, which I knew he was a freako way back when the first stuff started coming out. And so I've been boycotting his movies. Like I even see something of his come across, it just makes me like, ugh, sick. And so I won't watch any of his stuff. I won't, no way. I won't support that freako. But there's still people who do. And he's still out there making movies. And he's a lech, man. He's horrible. So and there's so many people who were speaking out and nobody would listen. Even I.S. Dillon, they were sitting there, trying to make like she was a kook, a drug addict who was mad at her dad or whatever. But no, no, he's really is what she says. And so, and then, what was her brother, which there's speculation that Frank is his dad, but, what is his name? Rory or something? I can't remember his name, but he's been saying, he's out trying to bring stuff to the surface because he's doing it for his sister. So, anyways, there's just more and more stuff pouring in and more things. But, yeah, Donald was not doing the stuff that they're saying. They're trying to draw him in. Even I saw one thing saying, yeah, that after they get finished, they go, like, Mar-a-Lago is a giant cemetery or something. It's like, okay, well, I guess let's go out and, do one of those things where they look down and see. I think they do it with some kind of radar or something that they can see under the ground, what's under there. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how some of the people are going to wrap their heads around, this part's true, but this part isn't. And, but I know some of that stuff's not true. But I know some of that other stuff is very true. No matter how heinous it is, it's true. And that is where it's going to become confusing to people. But I guess, you just got to take it all in and then let it play out. And because the truth is going to come out. And Nicki Minaj, boy, she's just going to town. She's going to town on Twitter. And she is exposing all sorts of things and all sorts of people. And I guess they tried to, I don't know, talk shit on her at the Grammys or something because now she's turned to the other side because they're all paid to be on one side. And I doubt they're kind of all just like robotic people. I mean, probably half of them are damn clones. They probably aren't even the originals. So I don't know. I mean, and everybody, sits there and thinks, well, that they are our leaders, they are the people who are pointing us in the right direction over what is right and what is wrong. And it's like, no, they're not. No, they're not. They're paid to protect these sickos that are, doing all this stuff that I know I've been saying. I know lots of people have been talking about it for a long time. And something I had just said the other day about them getting the foreign babies and stuff like that. And Nikki said something about that. And the real being so involved. And the people who... It's weird because there's such a huge amount of people who consider themselves to be, Jays. And that they, but not all of them are crazy ritual. Some of them aren't religious, I guess. Some of them aren't into the whole ideal of a label like that and being under well, it's sold to us like a religion, but the I don't know. It's probably their tribe or someplace they're from or something. But I was seeing things about, old Finkel's name running around and some of that stuff about the, I think it was a party or something. And he was talking in the emails. And he is constantly referring to us, and he's not the only one, is this word that I've talked about before, this Gorum or something. The way they say it, it's like we're garbage to them. And we are, we're cattle, we're nothing. And that, but, that's this cycle of life thing, this thing. This is why we have to change. because we have ourselves in it. You know, we are their food and we eat others as our food, and we got to pull ourselves out of it. But but in this email or something, he's talking about, yeah, oh, there'll be plenty of, it will mostly be, you know, the superiors, the Jays, and but there will be some Gorham there, whatever, however you say it, and Gorham, but some of them are wasps, and some of them, you know, it's like our entertainment or something. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, I've seen his name going around in some of these emails and stuff. And I guess it was like 300,000 pages, and people are just going through it. And it's so crazy because, you know, there's one name that drew them in, and we know who that is. And so they wanted to go in there and look and find things on him. And so far, you know, this weird thing about him checking sizes by his finger, and then having his kids do it too. It's like, you guys. And that whole thing goes more too. And then you got old Sasha. And then there, it seems like there's another one too. But anyways, all the stuff on him is going to come out. I don't believe any of it's true. I believe that he, you know, whatever, he grew up a rich kid, and he, I don't know if it was like a party scene that he was involved with for a while or something, but then he started seeing what the people were doing, and he didn't stay. He didn't go in that direction as the rest of them. That they all, you know, it's kind of funny too is like Jeffrey even had a name on his bank account, and it was BAAL, and you know, and it all has to do with, you know what you have to do, and you have to feed the beast, and all of these people, and they're always talking about like this demonic part of them, like even Lady Gaga, like that. Somebody was showing the footage of her concert when she had some young girl over her sticking her finger down her throat and vomiting on her chest as she's playing the drums or something. It's like, what? Oh my God. I could not have somebody's, I can't even stand to smell vomit. And he's going past, oh my God. I just, like, these people are so strange. But she's talked about that she sold her soul. She talked about she was approached. And even, what is her name? Taryn, I think. I just saw a movie with her in it the other day. But she was talking about, she was approached, because she's been a good actor. So she's been acting for a long time. And she was approached 3 different times. And they tell her, you know, that she can have it all. You just drink this little drink, and you can have it all. So I was thinking, I think this little drink, I don't know if it kind of opens you up. And if some of these people aren't really like inhabited by some being that is more advanced than them. So maybe this character, this BAAL, he really is somehow inside of all these different people, but they allow it. Like they want something from him. And so then they, you know, take a swig, and then that opens them up to having him come in and live with them, and but kind of rule them. And then if that isn't, when they are, you know, consuming this sacrifice, that they are feeding him in a sense. I don't know, you know, I don't know. I wonder if we're gonna find out more about, you know, how this happens, how this goes down, and how they all, like, because they're so free, they're just so into this worshiping thing of this character and what they'll do, and it brings such a dark, deviant side out in all of them. Like they become so lecherous, so inhumane, no humanity. They have, and that's the part, is like this ideal of us playing human. And so if you think of human as a character, as an avatar, say, yeah, the big sense of all avatars, which this morning I was looking at them, and I was thinking about you know, like different races and stuff, and they have like certain, like, a lot of them have certain body types and stuff, and those body types, that group is a group of a tribe from somewhere else. Like, that group is, it's not like we're all the same, and people keep on thinking we're all the same, we're all human, but some of them are in these avatars. They are representing themselves, but their genetic code is from these tribes. But this concept of being human is like a humanity. It's like a creation of a character, and who and what is this character, and we all come in to play this character, to understand what it is to go in this sense of this journey, and what you do with it. Like, what do you, like, you're given a recipe, and then what do you do with it? You know, do you create it and make it your own? Do you follow the format? Like, it's all individual and distinct what we all do with it, but it is the creation of like a like a journey, it's so weird because it's so hard, because you know, they try and make like a human is a soul, and it's like, no, your soul is not a human. Even when that translation of that Jesus story thing, and they're like, Jesus would not treat the human souls the same as he would treat the monad souls. And there's something about your eyes, that there's something inside your eyes. So Jesus could look inside your eye and tell the difference between a monad soul and a human soul. And to me, like I said the other day, a human soul would be a soul that is very consumed by the journey of the being human. And a monad soul would be a soul that wasn't consumed by this journey, and not consumed by this reality, and still stays some sense of understanding that it is a soul and it is separate from this storyline. But some people become immersed in this storyline and start thinking that they are the character in the storyline. It's like somebody going into a movie and playing a character and then thinking that they're really that person. And it's like, you're just playing a character. And this whole thing about this character has been an adventure or an experiment in the bigger scheme of things, of seeing where does this creature, this being, go, and where we have been stuck for so long in violence and hatred, and, you know, hurting each other and fighting with each other. And it's gone on for a long time. And so it is, you know, we're reaching the completion. And the thing is that we've all come in and played it at different points in time. So as the mass remembering happens, then it starts pulling it all together. It starts creating a closure of this experience, because we all start remembering and bringing different parts of this experiment or this experience or this adventure into a closing ceremony. And that's kind of the point of where we're at, is this closing down this experiment kind of situation. So this is where it is like this graduation for humans or humanity, because they overcome and they come together. And that is what we are in the process of doing, even though we aren't there, and even though there will be some that will still be on the outside, that they won't all come to the same place. And so, but that isn't it isn't like they're doing the wrong thing. It has to do with their storyline. It has to do with their lesson plan. It has to do with what they are, where they're at in their lessons. Like, so but there will be like this graduation of human to become a respectable experience of, it's going to have brought a lot to the universe through a lot of different experiences, and be able to still go from dark to light, to still overcome the borders of insanity, basically. So the and each individual is doing their own part for their own ancestral line as well. And so the people all have, at this point, it is like, I've talked about this before. It's, what is that called? That race, the baton. So that baton race. So each individual in a lineage, in the ancestral line, is like handed a baton. I've talked about this more in depth before. And so once you have the baton, it's on you, the lesson plan that has been going for all this time, and what you do with it. Where do you take it? And what do you heal? And how do you pull forward? And each individual has it at a certain range of time, and then it kind of spins into the next generation over and over and over, this looping going around and around of learning. And we all play parts, and you can learn from as much as you open your mind to learn from, or you can close your mind and not learn a thing. And so this this point in time is like all of the people in your ancestral line, in your lineage, you are the one that's crossing the finish line. So you're the one who is the last runner in the lesson plan. And so that's why there's so much talk of people talking about your ancestry and your healing, all of these things that have been going on for so long, because you are the last runner in this storyline for your lineage. And so you're the one bringing it home. And that is what, it's the importance of the healing and the lessons. And that's why your ancestors are all around you, because they are they're like at the what is that called? The finish line. So they're like at the finish line, hollering and yelling for you, cheering you on. And they're whispering in your ear, how to get over things and things to look at different. Because one thing about when you're on the other side of the game is you can see more. And so you see your own role, but then you see others. And so it is like they can tell where you're at in the learning game, in the releasing. And you're releasing all of their baggage too. So you're carrying this baton across the finish line that is releasing all of the baggage. That's why it's important for you to go deeper into your communication, into like meditation, reflection, whatever you want to look at it as, is communication, so that you listen to what your ancestors are telling you, whispering in your ear, trying to communicate to you while you're sleeping. And so when you're going into your dream state, into the astral, you're interacting with all of these different people, and they are, I think, giving you snippets of like taking you through lessons to help you along the journey of releasing. And it is also, say you're in a snippet, and it's a release of energy for this person. So this person is taking you into a storyline with them, so that they can complete something, finish it out. I think that is what is kind of going on in the dreams right now. It's like an interaction with the people, and that's why it feels so real. And it can feel like you really know these people, but you don't recognize them, but you feel like you know them when you're there. So these dreams are so deep, and there is like lessons and stuff, but I think some of them aren't just your lessons. Some of them are a long line of lessons, and this is an important this is an important role for the people who are alive right now in this ascension journey, this switching over to this completion is what it basically is, the big thing, because we always restart. We always go to new journeys. That's just a part of the soul experience, or the soul's journey, is there's always more places to go, things to do, places to be. So you always have somewhere to go. And but a big one right now about this whole thing is the completion. So we're in a completion of a cycle, and that is so much of this cycle has to do with the just the dark energy and the influence that it has over, and how to release it, and and that carries the tone of anger and violence and bitterness and resentment, and yeah, and kind of the idea of hiding from yourself, because we do have such a problem in this world with drugs and alcohol, and what is that, distinct, no, it's like it's like hiding, but there's a word that I'm trying to see, but you get what I'm saying. You are some of the people are I've said it before, but they are they're like hiding, and they're trying to do that so much right now with things too, to get it distracting. So they distract themselves, and we got this world that it creates these huge distractions, because it keeps you in your loop. So when you distract yourself, that is why, like, somebody who starts doing drugs or drinking when they're like a teenager, and then they stop, say they stop when they're 45 years old, and they've gone through a million freaking horrible things, and they finally have had enough, and they stop. But emotionally, they're still at the maturity level of when they started. So they're still like 13 years old, 14, 15, 16 years old. They haven't matured because they don't go through the issues or the problems, because all the time when you go through the issues or the problems and you face them head on, you grow from it. And when you distract yourself, you don't grow from it, you hide from it. And so that's what they use in this period of time to try and keep people trapped in their dysfunction, is so much distraction, because it keeps you in the loop. Even when you decide to change, you've got so much, you got, in some sense, you've got decades of work to face, decades of work on yourself. And and some people would say, well, an alcoholic has a hard life, man. How you say that they aren't struggling and having a hard life, and they aren't having to overcome things? But it's different, because they're not facing real things. They're creating dramas. They're creating episodes of toxic episodes that keeps them in it keeps them in a loop, where it kind of is like this entity that keeps you trapped in this loop, because you keep listening to that entity rather than to close it down and start listening to the higher, the higher veil, the higher sense of communication. And those ones will keep you, go get a drink. Yeah, you don't have to deal with this. Go get a beer. And some people do have the awareness of the two sides, the opposing forces. And where one's saying, you know, go get a drink, go get a drink, just forget about this. Who needs that bullshit? Who needs this person? And the other one's like, is very soft. It's very soft spoken. It's very, and it's weird because when you're listening to them, you can sense the darkness. You can sense its darkness. And then on the lighter one, where it's just like this calming voice and stuff, you can sense the light. You can feel like because when I was 3, when I became aware of them, and I was going back and forth listening to them, I could feel the darkness. I could sense the darkness. And then you look over at the other one and you can see light and you can hear. It's a totally different kind of voices. And so it's a lot more, like you gotta kind of more force yourself to listen to the quieter voice, because the loud one is like tuned in on your ego, so it's very missile directed towards your ego, and the other one is directed more to your sense of right, the sense of right and wrong, the sense of integrity, the sense of compassion and love. And so it has a different communication, and it's a different communication tool. And so you so it's pulling on those parts of yourself. But in this world where they try and disconnect you from those parts, and so that's why it's such a big accomplishment, is when you reconnect to yourself in this space of chaos and this space of like darkness and stuff. Even this like what is her name? It's like Rowan Chappelle or something. It's this new singer, and she had some of these outfits. Heidi Klum's outfit. Give me a fucking break, Chuck. Like you look absolutely in like I just can't even with some of these people, and it's like they're so up their own ass to think like you really think you look good. You really think like you don't look insane. It's like you look ridiculous. Like you don't have people sitting there going, "Oh wow, that's so cute. I'm gonna go get one of those. God, she looks good." No, you look stupid. You look like I don't even know. Like if you don't know what she wore, go look it up. It's weird, and in my opinion, it's weird. And then but this Roan Chappelle or Chappelle Roan or whatever her name is, and I had seen about her a couple years ago, and she was like, I think she was like singing on TikTok or something, and she got super popular, and so she started doing these like drop by concerts or something. Like she just started setting up a concert like at a gas station, and then there would be hundreds of thousands of people. Like she'd announce, I'm going to be at the gas station singing, 100,000 people would show up there. And so she started really growing in like creating her own supposedly, you know, but I think, you know, I mean, they tried to sell that off on Billie Eilish too, and she's like, you know, did you lab grow her? I don't even know at this point. Like some of this stuff is so weird. But so this girl, she was at the Grammys too. Her outfit. I mean, what in the fetish? Like what in the world? Like the just it's like no class, no self-respect, no. It's like this world is like classless. It's like these people get up to the top, and it's just like, here, let's degrade ourselves. But you got to remember, like these people eat poop, so you know, what can you expect? I mean, they chow down on freaking. We know what they're eating. So they're a bunch of loonies. So I don't know. It is weird. And then when they come out like parading themselves Like, they think that they are just, oh, they're so, what is that word? They're like the leaders in fashion or something. They are so ahead of everybody else or something. It's like, yeah, if you want to go to a freaking sex party or fucking weird, like it's not normal. Like, so, and I don't even know of all the different other ones, but those two I saw were so ridiculous. I know I saw other ones too that were ridiculous, but I just can't remember them all. But those two really stood out. Like, if you haven't seen them, you can go look them up. It was like, her name is like something was Chappelle or something like that. Roan. Just look up Grammy outfits on the red carpet. And oh my God, I don't know what these people think. It's, I don't think that they do think, you know. I think that they are, we talk about lower chakra and being robotic. And then also if they've given entry to some kind of entity, you know, that they are, have them inside of them or something. And so, yeah, they don't think. They don't. Yeah. And the thing is, too, is Heidi Klum, what is she like? Like 60? It's like, girl. It's the same thing as like when Dolly Parton came out, like wearing whatever, the skin suit, and then wearing this skimpy little shorts and skimpy little shirt, which I don't even know that's the original Dolly. Dolly could have been switched out a long time ago. As soon as somebody becomes popular, I think they're faced with, you know, a choice. You know, you're gonna do what we tell you, or we're gonna just get rid of you and take number two. And so, I don't know. It's like, it's kind of a horror movie. You think about like some of these people getting into that industry, and it's like you're like the nightmare of being chased all the time. Because I guess there's a video too, and this woman, and this is an old video that's recirculated now, and she had gone somewhere, like to a party on a yacht or something. I'm not even really sure. But she came off screaming and freaking out over what she saw. And it's all the stuff of, you know, like dinner time. Let's all eat together. Look at what we have. We have the entrails of Nimba. So, yeah, so she came off screaming and freaking out, and nobody was like, you know, everybody thought that. Because they sit there and say these people are on drugs and stuff. They say they're crazy and don't listen to them. They're a bunch of wackos. And really, they are telling the truth. And so that lady that did that, I guess she disappeared that night, never seen from again. And so that's what I mean, is like you come out and you try and say anything, it's like a nightmare. You're being hunted by these people. And not only that, that's the thing, is like they are above our pay grade, because they will hunt you in your dreams. They'll hunt you in the astral. They'll hunt you in, you know, like before, even when I was at my cabin and I had said there was a man in black, or whoever the hell those people are, because they go by a different name now, but there was somebody from the astral in my fucking hall. I could see them. And they, and that day, it was so insane. And I talked about this when it happened, but I'll say it again, is that day, because over at my other place, there was like an open portal. It was just like constant traffic going through my place. And this day, it was like a heavy traffic. And then anybody who I came in to my place, it had dark energy. It was just like, it just fed into, it was like more and more and more. And so this one day where it was really intense. And so I decided to do a saging. And that one entity, or one being, whatever, the one consciousness, looks over at me and starts laughing at me. And I could totally get the sense of like, what do you think you're going to do with that? And I was like, oh, well, I guess that's what we tell ourselves. Like, we're clearing the air, man. It's like, doesn't work on all of them. But what did work was I pulled in all of my energy to myself. I like sucked it in like I was a vacuum, and I sucked it into my chest, into my heart space, and I pulled it in. And then with great power, as much power as I could manifest. I, at the same time, I yelled in my head as loud as I could to get out. I pushed all my energy out. And it was like I was pushing a bomb out. It was the coolest shit. And it fucking cleared the room. I was like, well, that worked. So that is, I think that is our power tool. I think that is something where we got to really start concentrating more on our energy and what we do with it, because that's what we are, you know. And they want to keep you out here in the physical. Oh, I'm going to sage you. And then really, it is our energy. We got to pull in our energy and put it, you know, aim it and say, no, get the fuck out of here. And then right now, it's just draining, man. I mean, we just got, I mean, to me, it's like we're just being bombarded. The dark is fighting for its life at this point. And don't forget that all of these solar flares and all of these, this Schumann nonsense, and right now, like in, I can't remember the name of the city, but like I think they've had like 100 earthquakes. And I just saw a lady saying that they had just had like 10. They're just coming, boom, 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 boom. And some of them have been 4s. And they're all over though. But there's a whole bunch going on in California. And so you do start having people start freaking out who are around that area. But the thing is once the one area goes, it's going to cause a domino effect. And it's going to be a big thing. So it's not going to just be one thing. And the thing is it's a representation of what is happening. So that shows the awakening that is occurring. And think about that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. The what was it called? It wasn't called Inside. It was called Inception. Something. But it was like they were going into these realities, and I think it may have been like in dreams, but those are all real realities. But they were going into these realities, and then these realities would crash, and they'd be running as the reality was crashing. Well, that is what is happening to ours. And so where the earthquakes and going underwater and flooding and stuff, it's the crashing of this reality, because we're going into a new one. It wasn't, you know, I mean, they could bounce from reality to reality in that movie. I think if the thing got you in the, is something was crashing, if it crashed on you and then you had to leave a different way. But otherwise, you know, that's the different states of consciousness. And that is the part of the awakening where we become more conscious. So we are more aware. So all of these crashings can't get us. And we continue to go on. And I think that is the concept of the ascension, is carrying your character forward and being a part of the building of a new reality. But the reality is crashing. You know, where we've been is ending, and it's going, you know, under the water for most cases, under the mud, under the water. It's like the earth swallows it up. It's like her scars, it's her wounds, and she swallows it up. And then she begins to bloom and blossom from what she has learned and gained from that energy. But she also holds on to these energetic pockets. And that's what I was saying, like some places hold energy. And right now, the places where there's a lot of combating is the energy that is there being released. And so like in Minnesota or whatever, where there's so much tension, and the tension is spreading in other places. And so but as that tension spreads, it's like a release of the energy that has been stagnant or stalled there. And so those in some cases it is like kind of like entities that have been there, but it's kind of like okay, so it kind of is like, so say you go to a world, and you go in and you're living in apartments, and you are a serial killer, And so you go around and you do all these heinous crimes. But don't forget, every single thing that you do, anybody you hurt, is a part of your soul group. Then you guys all came in to learn from these different aspects of what this experience is. So you come in to do that, but you still have an energy you're feeding. So you're feeding this dark energy. So more dark energy comes and it begins to exist in this place. And so more and more dark energy, which to me is the dark energy is kind of just like a slut, like it's just an energetic, it doesn't have the same state of consciousness. It feeds off of emotion. And so you create more of a space where there's a lot of this dark energy, and then you die and you go off and your soul group goes and has to deal with its lessons and stuff like that. But the energy is still in that space, and depending on how big it has become, it's still there. The hostile, the sadness, all of this stagnant energy is still there. So there's a lot of places where there's a lot of this energy through the battles and different things that have happened for humanity to get to the point where we are now. And it's not in a linear fashion. It's different space and times of realities. But but they've been in a lot of the same areas. So that is and it's trippy is because like if you in this area right here, if you were to tune into a different station, there's something else going on right here. It's not this just me in this world going on right here. There's other things going on. And so the energy right now in some of these places is being forced. It's like, okay, so when the people come in and they are angry, they start pulling that energy up. So the stagnant, angry, that energy source starts pulling up out of, it's kind of like raising the dead. It's kind of like pulling this energy out of the grave, kind of. And so then you pull it, and then it kind of feeds into your anger and stuff. But you can use it in two different ways. You can be succumbed by it, but you can also use it as, what is that called? When you transmute energy. So when you take that energy and you feel this like anger and bitterness and stuff like that, but then you're thinking, well, what do I have to be mad about? So you start recognizing, oh, it's the energy around me. And so how do I transmute it? And you figure out ways to change that energy and to go into a different direction. And but some people become succumbed by that energy, and that's what we're seeing play out is a lot of these battles and a lot of these people so angry. And really, I saw a girl today who said she's getting arrested. They told her turn herself in today or they were going to bust in her door. And she got messaged yesterday, federal, that you turn yourself in or we're coming for you. And she was, which is one of those people out there marching for good. And so they, gathering names, they're getting people. And she's very upset. And when you go in the comments, you see all these people are like, oh, the dictator, this, about, all this kind of stuff. And how dare them. It's like, you guys got to take responsibility for yourself. And not only that, he's put out, or a couple videos have come out about, they're like old songs from the 70s. And they've got a whole video that goes with them. They're really funny. But where he's saying, like, all you got to do is, everybody's welcome. You just got to come in legally. That's all we ask for. And if you're not, then we want to send you home. And so, and the biggest thing is because they got to go through and figure out like, oh, so, you are part of the problem here because you are committing crime. So there's a whole thing where I have seen people who have come over and done all the steps say, they're not against it. They think it's a good thing. They had to do it. So, what's the big deal? And that they support this country and stuff. But you have people here who are just all brain twisted. And then I guess they've got, this dark energy is trying to take them over. And so they are just focused on one direction, and not taking responsibility for themselves. It's like, you're going out and doing this. You're going out and creating this chaos and trying to fight against these people who are doing their job. What would happen if somebody came to your job and started trying to fight you for when you're trying to do your job? What would happen? Would your boss like remove them? Would they ban them? Would they call somebody to come and get them? Like, think about it. So they want to be like, this isn't right. We should be able to go out and disrupt these people and cause all this chaos and all of these problems in these cities, but we should be able to do it freely. It's like, no, but you're going to be, they've already shown. Like, there's already people who are, and like those ones that I said in Florida, like they're facing like 10 or 15 years. And so, but see, you got to also take responsibility for yourself, for the choices that you're making and what you're doing. But anyways, so yeah, now they're putting out, I guess there's going to be a bunch of arrests today because they're, sending out a thing, turn yourself in, or you're going, or we're going to come and crash the door down. So anyways, we'll see what the effect is. But, But then, you have the people who are trying to create the chaos and get more people, because it's a huge distraction. You don't pay attention to the 100 billion that I've lost. Just go out there and force these people to stop trying to remove people. And then other people have been like, old Barack, he removed more than, it was like his big thing. And he was the one who had the kids in the cages. He's the one who had all of these detainment, whatever. He's the one who created all of that. And those people think it was Donald. No, he's just using what was there. And I guess he probably made some more. But anyways, there's a whole thing about, what he did. And I was thinking, well, he wouldn't have been doing it for anything good. He would have been doing it for just the stuff I was saying. Let's separate families. What are they going to do about it? Nobody here is going to listen to them. We want them for this. We want them for that. We want some girls over there on the baby making farms. We want some kids over here for dinner. We want some people over there because we need their kid. And we'll part them out. We'll, use them for an incubator. We'll use them for dinner. So they, I doubt those people were lucky enough to get to go home. So I don't know. We'll see as more stuff comes out. But that's the thing is, he wasn't trying to do anything good. He wasn't trying to help these people. And so, and I think that, that's the thing about, when they're sitting there, prove this is your kid. We're going to put this kid over, because the people are going to find out the reason that they're taking some of these kids is because they're not theirs. They're here for the auction, man. So, yeah. And these people are trying to fight them. And these people who are trying to fight are trying to take these people down who are doing this stuff. So, anyways, the truth is coming out more and more. And the energy is, these people who can't see or hear or listen or whatever, they're going to be, if it is that they have to be sitting in a cell to hear, I don't know. We'll see, how it all continues to play out. But we do have like the solar flashes, we have the earthquake. So all this stuff is like, make sure you're prepared for whatever, if we lose power. Because they say that something about the Carrington event, it could be everything goes down for like 5 to 7 days or something. And so you have no way to cook, no way to talk to people, nothing. No power, nothing. Which I don't know, who knows? Anything, at this point, anything can happen. And, but I went and got water yesterday. And God, the days I go get water. So, and when I was getting water, oh yeah, I was like really torn. Do I go into town and get it because it's cheaper? Do I just go up here to the Albertsons and get it? And, so I decided, well, I'll just go to Albertsons. It'll be quicker. And the $3 or $4 extra I'm going to pay for the water, I would be paying that in gas and time, because it takes way longer to go to town. And I'm going to go to town Monday when I'd have to go to the store, because I'm going to go do a big grocery haul Monday when I get paid. And so I'll go to town for that. And so I decided to just go to this one. And which I already had to have my daughter send me some cash to go even up and get the water. I thought I could be able to make it until payday. It was like, God dang, it's weird. There are certain things I'm going through so fast, like water and toilet paper and stuff. It's like, what in the world? Time seems to be going so fast, but it seems like some of my supplies are going faster and faster and faster. Like some of this stuff is so weird. So anyways, I had to get some money from her. So I go up there to the store. I gather my stuff and I get a couple of extra things. Like I got a couple kombuchas and some cheese. And because I like the cheese at the Albertsons because it's thicker sliced, you know, when instead of just grating, because I don't know, supposedly there's so much plastic. But anyways, the old rustic thicker pieces, it seems more legit cheese. But the but they had a bakery thing of cinnamon rolls that was on the you know, the day old bread thing or something. So I had a big thing of cinnamon rolls for $3. So I decided to get that. So I go up to the thing and I'm putting in my stuff and I'm about to be 20 cents short. So I send a message to my daughter real quick and I'm like, could you send me another $5 real quick? And so she sends me $5 real quick. But then I can't move it. I can't get it to move into my account inside the store. And so the lady, she comes over and she's talking to me, which me and her had been talking through the whole time I was there. And so she comes over and she's talking to me. And I tell her, well, can I do it on 2 different things? Can I pay with my card and then pay with Apple? And she's like, you know, there was a problem being able to do that. I have to go to the cashier. So she just decides she's just going to pay the money on my thing. So she just put some cash in of her own cash. And it ends up being like, I think about the same that what I ended up having to go there to pay extra, which I thought, how weird. Like, and then it was like one of those things too, where I was like, I really needed that. I really needed somebody to be nice to me today. That was like so nice. And she's just like, I said, well, I could Venmo you. And she's like, no, just pay it forward. Just, you know, help the next guy. And she goes, yeah, I have to do this all the time at work. She said, I have to leave my credit card at home because I want to help everybody. She's just like the sweetest lady. And it was just like, it's so nice when you run across somebody like that, you know, who is just like, no, let me pay that. And it was a couple of bucks, but still, it was just like so nice of her. She could have said, well, why don't you just put that back? And I could have done that. I could have put something back, paid for that stuff, and then paid for the other things separate. You know, there was other things to do it, but she was just like, oh no, here, I got this. And so anyways, it was really nice. And it was one of those things where it made me just feel like, oh, because I was feeling so just down and overwhelmed and just the life sucked out of me. And so then I came back and I was still, you know, the dogs just don't stop, man. They just don't stop on me. And they all are so needy of me. Like they freaking, like, I don't understand like why people want to be worshipped. It's like sucks the life out of you, man. And so, anyways, then we went outside and tried to, you know, shake up the day and see, and maybe we'll do that again today. I don't know. We'll see what the day brings us, but maybe we'll go out and just walk around some more in the yard and stuff. But but anyways, we'll see what this day brings us. There's no telling what's to come for this day, but be prepared for anything. And you can pay attention to what's happening outside of, like, in the sky and stuff. And I guess the auroras are going crazy, and then the astrology stuff. So, oh yeah, and there's a whole thing now too about some tribe talking about before the moon. So the moon is something they brought in. So, but I mean, I learned that on Ancient Aliens, that the moon isn't, you know, part of our natural world or something. But really, what is our natural world? You know what I mean? I need my tissue. I swear to God, I had 2 sitting here. As soon as I want one, can't find it. Oh, it's on the floor. Both of them are on the floor. This nose run. These allergies really get me. It's so funny too, because I was somebody who never had allergies until one day, and then you do. And then, but, whatever I was gonna say. So, the craziness, oh, because all of this stuff, like the Schumann, the solar flares and all this stuff, it's the energy. It's all like as we are becoming more determined, more and more people are like, why are we going and working? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And like, yeah, exactly. That's what I went through. That's why I was like, I'm not paying these people. I'm not gonna pay for a house when I'm paying people that like what they do. I'm not doing it. It's like whatever happens, happens. Luckily, you know, I had people to go to that do pay. It's kind of, but for every one of us that stop, it puts another problem for them, you know. We reduce it. So even when we all come together, and even if it's, you know, everybody went in and starts sharing one house, it's still, that's a big problem for them. That's one of the reasons why they made it a big thing about kids need to move out when they're 18 and go be on their own. And they set that tone because that gave them more and more people who have to pay for being here, more, you know, rent, electricity, insurance, all of the stuff. But the more that we combine, the more that we kind of go in as a community and more people live in like one space, then it still does reduce, you know, what it is that they're getting. So it is helpful, even though, you know, this is a whole step down thing, you know, it's a whole, and, but, you know, something's going to crash and it's all going to pull apart and then we're all going to start over together. So then, and we'll see when that day comes. We'll see. It definitely seems that we get closer and closer every day to whatever it is that we're going or whatever is going to happen. So something's going to, you know, we're just getting closer all the time. So as long as you're not there, you have plenty of time to still work on yourself and remember your role in your line, in your lineage, and that you are at the finish line for all of them, and start listening to them. You know, start paying attention because they are definitely gathered around you. They're definitely with you. And you are definitely the one who is here to cross the finish line, you know, with the healing and the letting go of all of the things that have been carried through our ancestries. And so, you know, it's an important role. Everybody has an important role at this point. And it's, you know, an important part is just figuring it out. You know, the big thing of figuring out how to learn to love yourself. It's like perfect timing every time. Yes, girl, I know. Learning how to love yourself, learning how to love everybody else, because that's important. When we all come together, we're a force to be reckoned with. And learning how to, you know, listen. Which am I going to listen to this one? Am I going to listen to this one? Where am I going to direct my energy? You know, what am I going to pay attention to? What am I going to let me bring me down? What am I going to let go of? You know, it's up to you. And the more that you realize, you know, how you live is up to you, the better off you're going to be. So anyways, that's the challenge, is working on you and figuring it out and figuring out how to care and have compassion. And then they want to, you know, create all of this hostility and distraction. So anyways, we'll see what they throw at us today, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. And tomorrow, it will be Wednesday, so we'll go live in the afternoon. So we'll talk about stuff in the morning, and then in the afternoon, everybody can get together and talk together if they want to. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.